I have about 3 or 4 videos where I have shared some testimonies that I read out of a book that I wrote. And when I do, I usually say, it's not about the book, I'm not going to talk about the book. And I don't. But today, I am going to talk about the book. And the reason I am going to talk about the book is because for the last 4 years, I have every single time I have put this book on YouTube, I've made some mention of it, the video becomes restricted. It becomes restricted. And the first time this happened was about 3 years before this kind of restriction and censorship that is happening to many people. Is happening to many people who are sharing testimonies, and I have to say, it's not just happening to Christians. I've seen it also happening to people of the Jewish faith. If they share any kind of testimony that has to do with judgments, has to do with hell, those videos also become invisible. Even though you can see them without your filter on for restricted mode, which everyone who is a registered user can turn on or off if you want to. What happens when YouTube puts a video into restricted mode, it pretty much stops suggesting the video. So in essence, it's like a dud. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go where it can go. And this has been happening. I explained in a video that I made about sharing Bible truth today, or sharing or not sharing Bible truth, how this restricted mode impacts Christians today. So it's difficult all around. And I really don't see it changing, because it involves advertisers and money, and Google is a private business, and this is the model they want to follow. And even if, and I have to say, there are some legal battles arising out of this, and even if those particular battles are won, it's a case by case, and there's so many people that are impacted by this that I do not see that those videos that already have fallen into that, which are many, every single channel just about I have gone to, with someone having any kind of testimony having to deal with Christian or any other faith that deals with that, they're suffering from the same situation where their videos are not seen. If you turn on this mode, if before they had 10 videos, you might see just 5. The other 5, they just disappear. And it's supposed to be it originally became to keep inappropriate videos of mature content from the young, but it has crossed into other scenes that are impacting beliefs and faith, and so in sharing them. However, before all this, I ran into a problem when I would try to share my testimony of my book. It would go into this restriction. It would just disappear. Now, I'm not surprised, because we wage war against not flesh, but against principalities and powers. And what I have to share is about my own experience dealing with this principality and powers. Testimonies where I share where I have dealt with demons. Testimonies where I share and my experience about dealing with such warfare, and as well as the revelations that the Lord gave me concerning Armageddon and his day of wrath. So it's you can say it's banned on YouTube. So I pretty much expect this video also to disappear. But you know what? This is warfare. So though it may disappear, I'm going to try to bring it back in another way, because this is something the enemy doesn't want known. The enemy doesn't want the reality known. See, this is one of their prime strategies, is to get people convinced they don't exist, so they have no fear, and so they don't believe in the consequences of hell, and so they live their life the way they may please without any kind of worry. This is a great strategy, and one of the ways is to conceal any kind of information that will shed light otherwise. So the enemy doesn't want the subject known. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to just talk about my book, expecting it may vanish again. Okay, I'm not going to talk too long about it, but I want to show this is my book. Born in a war between dark and light. Now, I have read about 3 or 4 testimonies out of this book, and when I connected those testimonies to this book, they became censored. They became restricted too. I don't use any more offensive language than sin. The wages of sin is death. Speaking about spiritual warfare of the demons. This is one thing I've seen. Other channels, the videos that get censored, that seem to disappear, have to deal with biblical teachings on demons, have to deal with the reality of demons and their strategy against us. Not the kind that glorify demons. Those videos are allowed to reign. But I have seen that they disappear. Even Sid Roth's channel, if it mentions a demon, more than likely that video will not be there. You will not be able to see it if you have on restricted mode. So what's the problem with that? Our youth, who really need to hear this message, who really need to understand that we're in a war. There's an enemy out there that is battling against us to lead us to destruction. And it applies to the young who are at the age of accountability. The youth in the age of accountability also are in threat. Now, you can hear me read from this book one of my testimonies having to do when I was caught away to meet God. I have another video that I made where I shared where I saw a demon take possession of a person in broad daylight. Not only that, I share the principles involving how you can recognize when you are dealing with a person who is an agent of the enemy. And it can happen really to anyone. I give the ways to recognize and how to deal with it. I also share an amazing encounter I had with a demon ruler principality, which I have shared here, and I think I'm going to condense it and put it by itself so you can hear it. But please realize, within 24 hours, it'll be censored. So if you come to my channel, don't put on your restricted mode. You're going to not see about 40 or 50 of my videos. They just vanish. They vanish. They literally vanish. But they're still there. And I have other testimonies here dealing with other encounters I've had. I also share biblical principles, how to wage the warfare. The essential things to know about these last days and about the season of grace. You know, there are books there are many books here on YouTube that deal with someone in a satanic coven sharing their experience, either pro or con, especially the pro about, their devil worship. Those things don't disappear. But the enemy doesn't want this known like other people who are sharing godly testimonies and biographies about based on biblical truths. Those are the ones that you will see the videos censored. So this time I'm making it about the book, and I'm just going to show it. It's available on Amazon, and it deals with my personal experiences dealing with the demonic, and also with the revelation the Lord God has told me. And I want to make known that it is not welcome by the demonic. The demonic does not want it to be known. The demonic continually finds ways to get this to be hidden. This is a serious problem, because really what is happening with this way is that there are generations growing up kept from the full principles of the Lord. It's okay with the enemy if you teach them about the love of God. But if you get to the severity of God, that becomes restricted and censored. It's really interesting, because books and bookstores that sell the books embrace and generally have a breadth of topics, a breadth, B-R-E-A-D-T-H, a breadth of viewpoints. But this is part of the last day warfare that the enemy is achieving to hide essential information from many. I guess basically I wanted to, because of the insistent and persistent restriction and censorship that, as I said, it's not just me, it's happening across the board, it's happening to many people. And so I myself want to take the time. This time I do want to share my book. I do want to show my book. I realize that it probably won't show for long, but for those who see it, you have to wonder, what is the threat that drives the censorship, the continued censorship? It's chock full of offensive words. If the wages of sin is death is an offensive word. If God's wrath is an offensive word. If judgment is an offensive word. If demons are real is an offensive phrase. Yes, it is tremendous. It's a great offender that way. If knowing spiritual warfare, understanding the reality of the enemy is evil, oh yeah, this is a greatly evil thing. It needs to be hidden. From my own personal experience, I'm sharing this because for the time that I have, I want to raise awareness that this is ongoing. This is my own personal example, and yet I know of many other Christians and Christian channels who are also experiencing exactly the same kind of censorship of their material. But the one thing I do want to say concerning this book is that this began happening to me 4 years ago on this book. It's the book itself. I know the book bothers the enemy because I had an encounter about them. And basically, they don't want to be known. They want there to stay doubt. Because that is one big way they are going to succeed in taking down many people. Many people. What makes my testimony a little bit different is, Bill Weiss, he went He had a testimony where he spent so many minutes in hell. Well, it is a powerful testimony. Yet, there's a portion who can say it was a dream and water it down. Some of my things in here that I have to share aren't dreams. They can't be watered down. Perhaps that's what bothers the enemy so much.